When it comes time to getting what you want out of men, gratitude will get you a long way. Stroke that ego. Now, this works with any and all situations involving men. So, your partner, your boyfriend, your husband. In dating, when you're trying to push the relationship towards partner, dating, husband. To maintain a happy home. With a man that you want to use for a good time, money, whatever. And men don't even start, because you use women for sex every single day. Ladies, learn to start saying thank you and displaying gratitude. Because one thing about men, they love it when you stroke their ego. And the more you stroke a man's ego, the better he feels. And the better he feels, the nicer and more generous he is. A cheat code in this life is thanking your man for the most basic stuff. So, for example, and I'm sure women are going to get their knickers in a twist over this one, but free game. Thank your man for being loyal, for not cheating on you. And before you start, ladies, yes, I know your man is not supposed to cheat on you. I know your man is supposed to be respectful. I know loyalty is very important and a big thing in a relationship that is implicitly implied when you commit to each other. However, that does not stop it being true, especially if your man is desirable. And by desirable, I mean he has the package. I mean, he looks good, he makes good money, and he has good morals. Those kind of men will have women lusting after them. They will have women shooting their shots. I need you to understand that a lot of women do not care if a man is married or in a committed relationship. So a desirable man will have a lot of temptation that he will have to fight on a regular basis. So if as a woman you can acknowledge this and, show gratitude for it, because be for real, lots of other women's men are cheating on them. That is going to encourage him to want to do it more, to want to fight harder to stay loyal and committed. If a man does a simple thing like open your door for you and you are just grateful, not in a psycho way, but just like, oh, thank you so much, babe. I really love when you do that. He's going to feel good. I want to do it so badly again. If a man buys you something and you are very vocal with your gratitude, he will remember that and he will be happy. An additional note for women who are sexually intimate with their man, give him a little thank you. Trust me, it will take you a long way. Your relationship will be a happier place. Now, I'm not saying just start giving out sexual favors. Baby, I'm not saying that. However, if you are intimate in that way in your relationship, baby, that's men's favorite thank you. Let me be for real. So just understand that men love gratitude. They love being shown gratitude. They are big babies and they want all of their achievements and efforts acknowledged. And yes, you can do all that rah, he should know, this is what he should do, he needs to do it anyway. Okay, yes, we've heard. However, women who are used to princess treatment, who know what princess treatment is, oh baby, we know how to keep it going. So like it or lump it, take it or leave it. I'm just telling you what I'm telling you. Now, like I always say, there's always an exception to the rule. For best results,
I'm just going to say, when I'm packaging this like it's a tactic for you to use, because it works like a effing charm, it works on the right guy. But when use it as authentically and genuinely as you possibly can, that's when it'll work the best. If it's obvious what you're doing, that's why you have to be subtle. If it's obvious what you're doing, it's going to have the opposite effect. He's going to be like, who the hell does she think she is? It's not going to be fun. I'm going to give you actual personal experiences. They'll pain. Okay, my most recent example was in December. I met this guy. He told me he was a rugby player. So he was like 6'5" or 6. He was he was a big guy. I just went, you're a bit skinny. And he was like, skinny? So I was like, yeah, like, you're a bit skinny. He grabbed my hand, put it down his stomach, and was like, feel that? He's ripped. I was like, I just burst out laughing. I was like, no. I was like, I just mean for a rugby player. You're just a bit skinny for a rugby player. And he was just like, yeah, like, that is a joke. Like, you just said that. So I was like laughing it off like it was banter. And I was just like, no, I was like, forgive it, forget it, forgive me, like, I didn't mean it. So we're chatting more and he's going on about rugby, like rugby's like his identity. And I'm like, you're really pretty though. And he's like, what do you mean? And I'm like, you like polished and preen, like for a rugby player, like you don't look rugged, like you're not busted up or, like a flat nose, cauliflower ears, like scars. He was like, I've got a scar there. It was like the size of my finger, the tiniest little scar under his eye. I was like, oh yeah. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you have got a scar. He was raging. He was literally fuming. I left. Goes to leave. This guy pulls my arm and he's like, "Give me your number." Another example. This guy, I was out. When I tell you he was an 11, this is going to be a podcast. You asked for examples, you're going to get it. He was 11 out of 10, and oh my god, I was floored. Like, this guy was just so fit. I'm out with the girls, we lock eyes, and he's gonna come over. And I was like, no, nope. You know when a guy is that fit that you're like, what would I say? Like, you become like shy. Like, I was so shy. I just was like, don't want him to come over. So I'm like, I can just feel like he's trying to catch eyes with me again, and I'm like, no. So I'm like being quite rude, like body language wise. I'm just like not interested. Like, don't come at me. I can still feel. So we leave that room. Like, this club is huge. We leave that room and we go into another part of the club where there's different music and stuff. He's behind me.
Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for clicking. Kindly subscribe to this YouTube channel. So in today's video, guys, we'll be talking about why do men love to stroke their ego? What is it about their ego that seems to drive so much of their behavior? Let's unpack this, explore the psychology behind it, and discuss how it affects relationship and interaction. First, let's talk about what we mean by ego. Ego is essentially a person's sense of self-esteem or self-worth. For men, their ego is often close tied to how they perceive themselves in terms of success, strength, and status. It doesn't mean all men are self-centered, but society has a way of placing pressure on men constantly prove themselves. Stroking their ego becomes a way for them to maintain a sense of pride in controlling their lives. One big reason men stroke their ego is validation. Men often seek validation to confirm their value and capabilities. Society teaches men that they need to be providers, protectors, and leaders, whether it's excelling at work, being the best on the basket court, or impressing someone on a date. Stroking their ego gives them a sense of reassurance that they are meeting these expectations. Competitiveness also plays a role. Men are naturally competitive, and this trait is often encouraged from a young age. From sports to career achievements, they taught to measure their worth against others. Stroking their ego becomes a way to feel like they're winning, even if in situations where no one else is keeping score. This competitive mindset is not always a bad thing. It can drive ambition, but it can also lead to unnecessary pride or posturing. Let's not ignore the influence of insecurity. The need to stroke one's ego often stems from a place of self doubt. If a man doesn't feel confident or secure in himself, he might overcompensate by seeking praise, admiration from others. For example, a man might brag about his accomplishment or fish for accomplishment because deep down he fears he's not good enough. The ego stroking act is bind to insecurities. Then there's the desire for respect. Respect is a big deal for many men. They want to feel like they're seen and acknowledged for their efforts, intelligence, or strength. Stroking their ego is sometimes a way of commanding respect, whether through showcasing their skills, highlighting their success, or asserting their opinions. Masculinity and pride are also key factors. Men are often taught that vulnerability is a weakness and that shows strength is what defines masculinity. As a result, they might stroke their ego to mask vulnerability. For instance, instead of admitting they're struggling with something, they might post about how well they're handling life, even if it's not entirely true. We also have to consider the role of society, culture, and media in society portray men as heroes, problem solvers, or figures of authority. This constant pressure to live upon these ideals can lead men to focus on their ego as a way to keep up their appearance. Stroking their ego becomes a survival mechanism in a world that often expects them to have it all together. Now let's talk about how this plays out in relationship. Men might stroke their ego in relationship as a way to feel valued and appreciated. Accomplishment, recognition, admiration from partners, a lot of to them. But here's the tricky part. If the need for ego stroking become excessive, it can create imbalance or tension in relationship. For example, a man constantly needs his partner to boost his self-esteem. It's become emotionally draining for the other person. On the flip of side, Understanding a man's ego and how it operates can actually strengthen your relationship. Recognizing that his need for validation might stem from insecurity or society pressure can help you approach him with more empathy. It's not about constantly feeding his ego, but about creating a safe place where he feels valued without needing to seek constant approval. Okay, so what's a healthy balance here? Stroking the ego is not inherited, but it's a natural part of human psychology. But when it comes to driving force behind a person's action or decision, it can lead to issue like arrogance, lack of self-awareness, or emotional disconnection. The key is for men to develop self-esteem that is not entirely dependent on external validation. For men watching this, here is some advice. Learn to find validation within yourself. You don't always need to applause from the outside world to prove you're worthy. Embrace vulnerability is not a weakness but a strength. When you allow yourself to be real and honest, you build deeper, more meaningful connection with people around you. Okay? So for women, if you're dealing with a partner who seems overly focused on his ego, try to understand where it's coming from. Is it insecurity, society pressure, or something else? Use this understanding to communicate effectively and set boundaries if needed. At the end of the day, ego is a part of human nature, and stroking it occasionally is not the problem. It's when it becomes a crutch or mask for deeper issues. The goal should always be self-awareness. Okay? So alright guys, men who always want you to stroke their ego, and they love it because this is where they have their power. Okay? So there's a healthy way of someone wanting to stroke their ego, and there's a toxic way. So if you're in a healthy way, it's fine. Okay, so guys, that's a video. I don't know, kindly leave some comments in the comment section so that we discuss about this topic. If you enjoyed this video, kindly leave a comment.